All right, we are live.
Live. 1, 2, 3. We're live. Okay. Hello, everyone. How are you doing today? Today is another Wednesday, our training day and the math lesson. Okay. So we are trying to put all this together every week, every Wednesday to help our seasoned and new agents to reach their goal and everybody become icon agent. Okay. So today our continuing going to with working with the super inspector company that bring us another topic to learn how to do a new construction inspection. So without further ado, let me introduce you there. Delta. All right.
Thank you so much, Leah. Yeah. So actually about 50 to 60% of the work that we do for inspections is new construction. It is definitely taking over. We have some agents that specifically only do new construction inspections. So I would say that we specialize in that. So y'all got to see my dad. If you were here last time, a couple months ago, my dad, Blake Williams, was the introducer for David. And so glad to bring you guys Kent today. My dad started Super Inspector in 2008, the bottom of the housing market. And he just really saw a need in the market for all these inspectors kept saying, like, I don't want to be held liable. Here's the home inspection report. Please don't call me. Please don't call me afterwards. I don't want to deal with a lawsuit. I don't want to be held liable for anything. They didn't put code in the report, nothing. So he came from a customer service background and he said, there has got to be a better way to do this. So when he became a home inspector and started his business, he was the very first home inspector to put code in his report. He was the first home inspector to do zip levels and thermal imaging cameras at the inspection, which we now include in all our inspections. And he worked with Ken Paxton at the state of Texas level to get home inspectors to be able to do sewer cameras at home inspections. We have always strived to make sure that you guys as the agents are the superheroes, even though the super in our name, inspector, comes after it. The agents are the superheroes. So we try to provide the best customer service whenever we're doing a home inspection. And so part of that is, as we don't just give you the inspection report and say, please don't call us. The inspectors will give you their personal cell phone numbers. They will be there for any questions. If it takes 2 hours because you have a first-time home buyer, they will be there for those 2 hours to talk to them. We save that whole hour or however long it's going to take at the end of the inspection for your buyers. And don't just take it from me. We have over 7,000 five-star reviews across Google and Facebook. So I actually found one for you that came in yesterday. And I was just going to read a couple of 5-star reviews for you guys. So second time using Super Inspector, also use them for super utilities, which after the home inspection, like I said, we really want to take care of the client. So we help them get their utilities set up and find movers and anything that they need. So great customer service up front and answered all of our questions without upselling us on anything we didn't need. Just had Kent inspect the house. He was courteous, friendly, and answered all our questions about the inspection. Another great one we just got 15 hours ago. I had a great inspection with Jeffrey last week. He was very professional, thorough, and communicative. Even after the inspection was completed, he answered all my questions promptly, clearly, highly recommend. What you'll see throughout all of our reviews, it says professional, thorough, friendly, great service, because that is what we really strive to do. Because at Super Inspector, we answer questions in 3 ways. Either yes, we can arrange that for you, or yes, maybe let's try it this way. Either way, your answer is always yes from us. And this is Kent. He's amazing.
Thank you for that, Delta. Delta's amazing. All right, guys. Thank you, Daniel and LV team, for letting us be here today. And we'll talk about, oh, I don't need that. Perfect. And we're going to talk about our favorite topic, new construction. It's, as Delta touched upon, it's at least 30% of all real estate transactions in DFW right now. It's a booming part of the business. And you may ask, the city, the county, they do their code inspections. Why do you need a third-party inspection? First of all, the city or the county is only there for 5 to 15, 10 to 15 minutes, and they have a lot of properties to look at in any given day. When you hire a third-party inspection to do phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, we're advocating for the client. Uh, the, the code and the city, they aren't really there to advocate for the client. They're just there to make sure the site, the building meets the minimum standards. And we're there for a couple hours on a phase 1, phase 2, doing a more thorough inspection. And we aren't really there to call out a million things, but we're another set of eyes to really assist the process and assist the builder and the city even in helping build that confidence for the client and their agent as they're facilitating the process for a new home. So that's why I would say, even on the phase 1 and 2, and especially the 3, phase 3, it's still important to get a third-party inspection. Let's get started. You should be able to scan that for credit. And if you have trouble with that, we'll get you signed in. Mhm. Yep, for CE.
And it'll be entered as soon as possible, so you should show up in about 24 hours.
Perfect. Not working?
Do the TV. Scan the TV.
Oh, right there.
Oh, I see that there.
All right, we'll start with the basic. What is a phase inspection? A phase inspection is an inspection of new construction at different phases, typically 3 phases. Phase 1, pre-pour or pre-foundation. This is an inspection of construction prior to the foundation concrete being poured. Most new homes, of course, are slab on ground. We don't see as many pier and beams at new construction anymore. Pre-sheetrock or pre-wall, pre-drywall covering. This is an inspection of construction prior to sheetrock being installed. And this one's a really, really good inspection and fun. You get to see really the bones of the house and all the mechanical details before that sheetrock goes up. In phase 3, new construction or final inspection. This is an inspection of the home after completion and prior to closing. And one other detail, the phase 1 and phase 2 aren't TREC promulgated inspections. The phase 3, however, is where we use the full TREC inspection in the full TREC form because it meets the criteria of a substantially completed 1 to 4 unit residential dwelling. All right, we'll talk about the phase 1 pre-pour inspection. And what we look for is the site preparation. Is the soil properly compacted? In Texas, of course, the soil moves a lot, expansive clay soils. We want to make sure that the soil has been properly compacted, similar to what you see on the side of the road during road construction. Same thing for a building. And the beams need to extend 12 inches into undisturbed soil or compacted fill. And being a monolithic slab with footings, it's still similar to how you might picture a pier and beam, where instead of the wood and concrete, the wood beam and concrete piers, it's just all a monolithic slab pour, and the concrete fills out those excavated beams to help support the structure. And what we look for in the phase construction, is there proper anchor bolts around the sole plate. We'll get into that here in a little bit. Corner rebar, you know, a common thing you'll see on homes. The corner, we have what we call corner pops, where the corners of the slabs crack and pop off. Proper rebar will help prevent that from happening. Beam excavation and compacted soil. Excavation free of debris, water and beam excavation, loose soil and beam excavation. So when we walk the site of the phase one, you look down into the trenches, you know, sometimes we'll see a lot of standing water there, a lot of trash, debris, water bottles, things like that. That all needs to be out of there. And usually the builder will come and address that anyway, but once again, it's good to have another set of eyes to watch all these small details. Vapor barrier, and that's one of the last things that go on before the pre-pour. With the concrete slab, you don't want moisture to wick up into the concrete slab. So it's important to have our plastic vapor barrier in place to help prevent that. And it needs to be properly overlapped. You shouldn't have any openings where you can see dirt or soil coming through that plastic. Reinforcing steel. Proper coverage according to foundation plans. A home's slab should be approved by an engineer with plans such as these. And most homes today in the area are post-tensioned slabs, where instead of just using standard rebar, most of the reinforcing steel will be the post-tension cables. We also call those tendons. So they lay the tendons across the slab, pour the concrete, and wait till that concrete reaches about 2,000 psi, and then they come and apply tension to that slab to help keep it just one continuous strong unit. Before that was done, a lot of older homes, the slabs, they crack in several areas and have that differential settlement where the post tension was added to help prevent that. The depths of beams, we want to make sure the beams are at least 12 inches width. The properly spliced rebar, we don't want any rebar that's not connected properly, because it can help damage its ability to reinforce the slab. It needs to have approved couplers or splices. And usually minimum number 3 rebar at the corners, oftentimes number 4. And when we're walking the phase one, we want to make sure that the cables and rebar are up off the excavation pads. They shouldn't be sitting on the excavation pads. All right, Delta earlier touched upon the zip level, and this is an important component of the phase one. And we take our level and we literally just measure the form boards here to make sure that the slab is, the form boards are within tolerance. You can see this one here, negative 0.4 inch is our low point. And then we have an area in the back corner plus 0.2 inches. That would be considered within tolerance. If it's more than half an inch, then we would recommend adjusting the form boards to get a level slab. And I've had new construction homes where, a phase one wasn't done and the home was tilted. So one side of the house was up 2 inches and the opposite side was down 2 inches. And yeah, it's, you know, still structurally sound, but it's very noticeable just walking the floor. Could have been an inconvenience for that client and something that could have been caught at a phase one inspection. All right, that was a lot of talk about concrete and rebar and things like that. We don't just look at that on a phase one, we look at the plumbing systems. What's the status of the main water supply line? The material. Usually the main water supply line will be 3/4 inch or 1 inch PEX, and the depth of the water supply line should be at least 12 inches underground. And we'll identify where is the location of the water main shut off. That should still be something we could see on a phase one. And same with the main sewer line. We'll make sure it's the proper materials. Should be Schedule 40 PVC. The main sewer lateral line that runs underneath the house should be at least 3 inches. And we'll find where's the main cleanout located. And it's important to have those for service and maintenance of the sewer line. And just like we mentioned earlier, the sewer camera is something we definitely recommend on new construction. And last is the drain pipe properly sloped. Sometimes we can see on a phase one where it's got a little bit of flat grade on the sewer drain line. We need a little bit of slope, about 2%. And one more thing about the water supply line, your PEX freshwater lines, they need to be properly protected. You know, they should have those styrofoam boots that come up out of the excavation pads. So that's another thing we look for. That's just a sample of a foundation measurement in the report. And these are some sample deficiencies that we call out in the phase one. Loose soil in the beam excavation. Water in the beam excavation. And openings in the vapor barrier. You see in this picture, it's not properly lapped at all. And walking around the perimeter of the phase one, we'll see this post-tension cable not secured. Concrete can get into that. So if it becomes damaged, it could be hard to remove. That red sleeve should extend all the way to the edge of that form board. And missing displaced chairs, another common thing we run into. And likely will be addressed by the builder, but we just help point it out. The cables need to be in the chairs. Here's a phase one foundation report, just a little bit of a sample, what it looks like when you get it. Plans reviewed during inspection. Normally the site plans are not there. Bearing soil conditions, type of foundation, approximate width of beams. Do they extend minimum 6 inches into the undisturbed soil? Is the moisture barrier properly overlapped? Are there proper supports for the reinforcing steel? What's the average thickness of the slab? Are the beams properly spaced? And a sample of the plumbing report. Exposed PVC. Once again, you don't want rebar touching the white plastic of the PVC, because that could potentially rub up on it and damage those PVC pipes. Needs to be protected by those PVC boots. All right, show you some more sample photos of the phase one. Just walking this, like you can see here, we could use some backfill here. This soil, something you look for is to properly compact that soil near the form boards. Same with this area. This soil could have been prepared a little bit better. And some examples of the things we find down in the beams. And we just would want to repair this damaged vapor barrier there. And are the excavation pads uniform? You see this one is uneven here. Displaced chairs for the tendons, and it's a little bit closer picture what we're referring to on protecting those tendons. All right, now moving into phase two. Yeah, this one's a lot of fun because we get to see all the framing, the sheathing, the flashing, insulation, and even the roof. The roof will be substantially completed usually on a phase two, so we'll just do a full roof inspection. And the electrical and HVAC and plumbing rough-in, are all the electrical cables protected, the plumbing protected, and how does the HVAC ductwork look? We usually get to see all that. And the mechanical exhaust and venting, is the dryer vent proper, for example, or the kitchen exhaust hood, is that proper? Roof covering materials, types of roof, is it properly installed? Roof sheathing, installation and thickness. It's usually the roof sheathing is usually 5/8 inch thickness. Flashing, felt paper, and drip edge. Is flashing properly installed? The flashing should be installed by the time of phase two is ready.
Can I just interject for a second?
Absolutely.
So I don't know how much new construction you guys have done. That's my background before I got into real estate. So on all these phases, I would just say, do not assume that the builder or the contractor is going to catch everything. And also don't assume that because by the time you have, let's say, super inspector come out to do this, let's say you're checking the roof, they're going to be able to see the finished product, right? So what I've found in the past is corners are cut between the last phase and this phase. For instance, if they didn't put down the felt paper below these shingles and you come out and you see, oh, well, they have the flashing, it looks good, they have the drip edge, but you don't know that there's felt paper. So I bring that out to just say, if you're going to work with new construction, whether you have a mass producing builder who's just doing the same thing one after the other, or you have a construction builder, get someone to go along with you at every stage before it's too late to take a look at it. Because sometimes even when we have you guys out, things have happened that you don't even see because they've already covered them up for the next stage, right? So once they put the drywall on, you're never gonna know what's behind that wall. You're never gonna know if they put insulation in that wall or not, if you didn't go and walk your property to see that there was insulation behind every wall, up to the ceiling, not just, 8 feet if it's a 10-foot ceiling. Or did they put flashing? I'm just saying, do yourself a favor. Don't just rely on these inspections that are coming out on phase 1, 2, or 3. Don't just rely on the city inspectors to come out and catch everything. Don't just rely on the builder's inspectors, because sometimes they walk that building so many times that they don't even notice it. Like, we've been in here thousands of times. Do you guys know what side the door that the switch is on before you go into that office over there? Of course not, because you don't pay attention to it, right? But all of those things are helpful for you to be an advocate for your client before you call, because they're going to come look at the technical things, but just work in partnership. Because I'm just saying, I've seen a lot of roofs done wrong under what you can see. The same thing under what you saw with the insulation and the framing and the foundation and all that, so.
Sometimes they use beer cans as insulation.
Yes, they fill in with beer cans. Or there's even as simple as, once they finish the framing, there's all kinds of dirt and sawdust. And sometimes builders won't even like sweep or vacuum out, that in between the frames. And then when you start having your air, and then all of that is in your walls, you know what I mean? And so it's getting recirculated. So just little things like, be there for every phase of a new construction, and just make it a weekly habit to go out and take a look. Sorry.
Thank you for that. No, that was excellent. And just as she was saying, it's, the code inspectors and the builders, private third-party inspectors, they're not your advocate. You need advocates, and you should have as many eyes on the property as
And
possible.
some builders won't allow a third-party inspector to even attend, believe it or not.
I was just about to ask him, like,
Yeah.
which builders you actually went to do the foundation inspections? Because I know a lot of builders, they either just won't let you do it, or they tell you, oh, we don't have time, I can't coordinate with you about the time when they pour the foundation. They don't know. They just won't tell you.
They
And then
won't
when you
tell
get
you.
there, it's already done.
Right, and a lot of times, some builders will say, well, you're not allowed on the site.
Yeah.
Once we start construction, you're not allowed on the site or a third party. So just before you start the process, when you have that contract with the builder, with your client, ask, what am I allowed to do?
Right.
Because my client requires and requests to have a third party eyeballs on. And it's not like they're trying to hide something. It's just that some of them just don't allow it because it just muddies their timetable.
Yeah.
It's one more call they have to make
Right.
to work around,
Right.
And
And even if they got their special report, they don't intend to do anything.
Well,
We've seen now that they'll put in contracts where you can have a third party, but whatever they don't get or don't see because they weren't there in time, then they are not held liable for. So they will only fix what is in the report. So if something happens later, even in that warranty time, they're like, no, sorry, you had an inspection, so we don't have to help you with that. So you have to really look at that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to give you a story that I had a client who worked with Ashton Woods, I think. I would say they're good builder. So the first time when we do the phase 1 inspection, the foundation was not there. Like, it's literally just didn't lay well. So actually the builder tear it and then redo it. So that's actually, that's
good.
so every time I recommended my buyers just don't do a base inspection for the new home, but I would say only 50% of them willing to do. They were like, oh, it's not a big deal, just But yeah, I highly recommend that.
Well, and like you were saying, the foundation, guys, if your foundation is sloped like this, can you build longer studs on this side to make up the difference? You can. These could be, 8'2", and these are 8 inches, 8 feet, right? But literally everything is on that foundation. So if you don't go to any other inspection, which I don't recommend, you have to have the foundation right. What if they tilted it here? And on these high density neighborhoods, it's but on a custom home, if your client wanted the house facing like this and you go out there and it's like this, you're screwed. Sorry, I mean, you know, I mean, no, but I mean, it is so important that you get that right. Like, go out there, walk it with them. They, more than likely, they've never built before. And more than likely, you guys don't have, and that's okay, but have somebody that knows, like, take somebody, hey, I want you to meet me out there on that first, I want to make sure we get this right, because if they mess up, you saw all those rough-in plumbings coming out, and here's their slab, and they have the toilet here, but the toilet's supposed to be over here. Well, guess what they have to do to correct that? They have to, you know, cut a hole in your,
Right.
in your
Cut 'em.
foundation to correct that.
So if the inspector has to cop those kind of issues, you have to see the printout, right?
Right, that's true. Sometimes we may or may not have that.
How are you gonna get the blueprint?
Well, the builder, that's something that you need to ask. When I walk with my client, you know, to make sure it's right. And again, these high density neighborhoods, they're pretty regulated with, there's 5 feet here and 5 feet here, right? There's not a whole lot of play if they have the angle right or back and forth, but they could be off on where they put the plumbing rough ends, because I mean, we're humans, right? Where they can stub that out. And so just say, hey, once you have it done, my client would like to walk that. Let's double check. You know, your client should have a copy of those floor plans and of the blueprints, right? Because it's their
We
house.
actually asked, the builder said no.
And
I don't
some
know,
builders
I
don't
don't
let you-
builder? They're terrible.
Many
some
builders.
builders won't give you a copy, but some of them will let you.
No,
know
it's
that
not
you-
floor plan,
builder rule.
all of builder, actually, majority builder will not give you what they call
The working blueprint.
Yeah.
not the blueprint, it's called the, PMC or something, like the plumbing, mechanical, and the
MEP.
engineering, PE, the MVP, yeah, MP.
Well, I'm
report.
pretty
They
sure
won't
they
give
give
it to you.
they give to the buyer 100%. Oh, every single of my new home buyer, they all have it.
Yeah.
I mean, at least when you walk through, they show you everything. I mean, you can take a picture.
Sometimes
or
they
something
won't
like
give
that.
you a copy of that, but sometimes when you need to walk it, they'll give you access to that.
I think on the pre-drywall meeting, yes, they show you that, but before, most of the buyer will never
Oh,
see
you
the.
mean before? No,
Yeah,
no.
they won't. The
No.
only thing I see is, high-end properties.
When you do a custom home, you're gonna have
Yeah,
access
yes,
to
Yeah.
that.
that's high-end
But when you're
properties.
doing a high density, they're not gonna show you the MEPs,
Right.
mechanical, electrical, plumbing plans.
Right.
They're gonna show you, you want the bedroom here, the bathroom here, you know, just the basic floor plan, right?
Yeah.
But
That's a little bit different than my
Yeah.
experience, because I go to every inspection with my new home client. Every time I'm there, the builder shows the paper, 100%.
Yeah.
So I think we should just later on take a picture, just make sure we have the record or something. But sorry, we.
Oh, no worries. That was good. That was helpful for me.
this is good.
And what was your name, ma'am?
Tina.
Tina. I think you know,
Like right here.
exactly.
slide. Yeah.
yeah, we definitely look for is the felt paper there? That's a big deal. Is the drip edge properly installed? Something we'll look for on the phase 2 or the phase 3 inspection. Roof structure and attics, the type of roof structure. Are the rafters sized properly? Are they spaced properly? And are they supported properly by what we call purlins? How about the attic ventilation? You'd be surprised on new homes that there's vents haven't been installed at the roof to help that attic structure breathe. To help protect those shingles as they age. Notching and boring, another thing we look for on phase 2 construction. And some of this gets missed by the city. You could see in this photo here, an improper notch. We'll take a look at the windows and penetrations. Are they supported with the proper cripple studs, with the king and jack studs? Sometimes we'll see they're not aligned properly. Sheathing and vapor barrier, that's a big one we look at on the exterior and really on the interior as well. Type of exterior wall bracing. Are the lintels properly spaced above windows and doors?
And those brick ties are huge, because I don't know if there are some builders, maybe it was when we went through the 2020 phase, but literally did not use many, if any, brick ties. And then what happens is the brick literally just falls away from the house because they had no way of connecting the brick to the house. It was just standing freestanding. And you could, I mean, I know you're like common sense, but
Depending on the contractor.
Yep, and often on phase 2, they're not even there at all yet. And that's something we have to call out.
I think the project manager is very important. on the new build.
And
And-
can I just, on the bracing, when you go into here and on high density subdivisions, you're probably not gonna be able to modify this, okay? They're very strict on what they put in, but sometimes you can work with the project manager and you can add bracing. Like, they're gonna have their certain bracing, but let's say this is in a bathroom, for instance, and you want the towel rack. Well, you know those always get ripped off the wall.
Yeah.
So if you know that your grandma has an 80-pound photo in the living room, then ask the builder, hey, can you put some extra bracing here or in the bathroom? Can you put it here for the towel rack, the toilet paper holder, etc.? And that's just walking through the framing and knowing where you're going to screw things in and where you need to bracket, right? And so even just little things like that, if you catch it, and here's another tip, have your homeowner take photos.
Yeah.
Because they're gonna say, oh, I want my picture to be here, for instance, or whatever it is. And then the sheetrock and they're like, now where did we put that? Or where was the plumbing in that bathroom when now we want to redo something later? And if you go and you take some photos, or you even do that for them and you create a file for them, and that way they have that later on in their house if they ever need to do something, it's a huge gift.
Oh, that's a really good tip.
Yes, very good tip. And we've seen homes that aren't properly braced to meet lateral resistance like wind, and they fall over. So you want to make sure you're properly braced, properly tied down on those straps at the braced walls, or what we call sheared walls. Windows. Are the windows properly flashed? Something we should be able to inspect on a phase 2. You can see the contractor there putting in the flashing. And that's what happens when you don't properly flash the windows. You get moisture penetration around there into the wall cavity.
There's like a waterproof taping. It's kind of like a tape. It's waterproof. And you put it on the bottom, and then you put the sides, and then you put the top. That way your water all comes down, and that's before you ever insert the window. Okay, so if you go out there and they're missing that, then that next picture that he showed, that's what's gonna happen, is water's gonna get in. Or if they screwed the window in the base, that you just basically created a tunnel on the bottom of your window for water to go in there. So they should be attaching it on the sides or on the top, but on the bottom, you're just creating a place for water to go.
Yeah, and on the inside, you should see the pan flashing. It's usually black mesh material that goes up around the window frame. And if you've seen those windows on, say, your hardy board siding, should, even on a finished home, see some metal flashing above that window penetration on the hardy board siding. Or stucco, for instance.
We see a lot of gaps. If we go outside, like after the houses have like almost like a first walkthrough, then you can see the gaps between the window frame and the bricks. Would that be a problem?
Probably. It sounds like it wasn't
Usually we
caulked.
expect to see caulking or sealing, but
There
If
should
they-
be.
Yeah, there should be caulking on the brick where the brick meets the window. And are the stairs proper? We'll measure the tread depth and riser depth, make sure they're consistent and then meet the standards. Electrical roughing, type of wiring, our nail plates. See, we're missing some nail plates when it's close to the edge of the stud there. So if you're hanging up a picture or something, you could pierce that cable.
We'll let you know.
Okay, heating and HVAC equipment. Type of system. Usually most of the system is in there by the time we do phase 2. We can tell if it's gas or if it's electric and where the units are at. And do the units have proper access and workspace? You'd be surprised on an older home, the crawling and climbing you have to do to reach the furnace. And if it's a phase 2, if it's very difficult to reach, that's something we can call out to have addressed potentially. We should have a duct walk or flooring to get to your furnace appliance. And we'll see the ductwork on the phase 2. Is it properly supported? Are there sags? Are they excessively crimped or not? And the plumbing supply, just like the phase 1 or phase 3, we'll look at the meter and the main shutoff valve. Are the pipes properly supported? If they're not, and you can catch that on a phase 2, you might get a lot of knocking or hammer when you open up the faucets when your home is complete. So you want to catch that on a phase 2.
what should we look for if we want to make sure the pipes are properly protected from nail punctures?
Correct. Just like the cables, the electrical cables, the same principle applies.
Does it have plates?
Plates. Yep.
Would you write it up in the report if they don't have plates?
We do.
Okay.
Yeah, very common thing. And venting, gas-fired appliances, fireplaces. And these areas should have proper fire blocking, something that will be visible for inspection on a phase 2. As you can see in this picture here, we have a fireplace chimney flue at the top, and that's not properly fire blocked. Should look like this one here, where there's no opening around that chimney penetration. And mechanical exhaust, your bathroom, your kitchen, and your dryer vent, that will be visible on a phase 2. Shouldn't be over 30 feet long on the dryer vent. And it should always have a backdraft damper. And on the exterior of the vent, something we run into, there's often a screen on the cover of that dryer vent. That shouldn't be on there because that's going to catch lint.
But why all the builders install
They're wrong.
Yeah.
every new home they install that?
And that's why we're there to help facilitate.
Is
Because
that to prevent any critters coming in?
I think that's the intent, right? And you can do that on the bathroom exhaust fans because there's no lint on the bathroom exhaust fans. But that dryer vent needs to be free of that screen for safety.
But can I also just say, in a lot of these homes, when you go through the floor plan, now they're putting the dryers inside the home. And so what they're doing is they're ducting that dryer vertically up through the ceiling.
Mm.
Okay, or up into at least between the next floor and then out.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry, but where do you find dust in your house? It's not on the ceiling, right? It goes down. And so think about it. You're having that dryer and supposedly, when it goes through that dryer, it's gonna go uphill against gravity and then out to wherever, either straight up on your roof or out. And I'm sorry, but it doesn't work that way. And that becomes a fire hazard because over time you have all of that lint build up. When you have it going straight outside, at least you can go in and clear it out horizontally, right? So just be aware of that and see if there's an alternative for your client, because it will be an issue at some point.
True.
And that reminds me,
I don't even know they will do it for you, because I've seen builders, they won't change it for you.
They won't change it because if it's in that room, the only way they have to get
Is
it
that way, yeah.
is to go out. And I'm like, okay, but maybe you don't need that floor plan, because I'm telling you, it will come back. It might not be in year 1 or 3 or 5, but it's going to be an issue.
Right.
Outside of their warranty period.
Yeah, it's outside their
Yeah.
warranty. It's out past that 1 year, whatever.
and we'll go into this sample phase 2 here that we did. The dryer vent wasn't even complete. It's just venting to, I believe, the garage space. And we'll walk you through this sample here. That stud has been overbored there. Missing roof covering. Should have a finished roof by the time of phase 2. And improper taping. And just like Tina mentioned earlier, we're missing brick ties. Should have brick ties in place. We're missing fasteners in the window flange. And even on a phase 2, I'll look at the site grading. Is the grade sloped properly away from the home or not? Because that's something that can be difficult to fix. So we want to catch that ahead of time. As you can see, that area looks like it's been pooling water next to the slab. And you can see here, these are unsealed or just flat out openings into the wall cavity for some reason. And what I noticed here on the exterior wall, we're missing a termite pre-treatment. Should have, these should be green pressure treated for termite prevention.
No, we're gonna replace we can spray, right?
Yeah,
that's
it needs to be
right.
treated.
Okay.
Mhm.
They used to not do that, but now it's protocol.
And we're missing a roof right there, roof covering material. So water homeowner shut off valve. There's that dryer vent that's not properly installed. And we want to make sure all the seams on the sheathing are taped, missing some tape, or the wrong kind of tape in areas. And like we touched up on, we'll do a roof inspection on phase 2 to catch things like this, exposed fasteners. Those just need to be sealed up. They left the cap on the vent pipe on the roof. That prevents it from doing its job.
But no rain's getting in.
But no rain's getting in. There you go. And this looks like some low nailing pattern here on the shingles. They missed the nail line. We call those shiners because they're shiny.
Do you actually get on the roof yourself or you?
Usually,
drone?
yeah, usually we can reach the roof. I would say, me personally, 90% of roofs I can get on, or greater. So another shiner there. You see, they just didn't finish putting the roof on.
Break that.
And another common thing, we call this scuffing, where foot traffic or tools damage the top layer of the shingles. You can see some daylight coming in here on that
That's what the
exterior.
bricks for.
True, true.
Unless there's no brick ties, then they'll fall.
All right. Go back into the PowerPoint.
Another helpful thing is if you, especially if you have a house that has the second floor, a lot of times they'll put that subfloor down and just nail it down. But then what happens over time is those nails become weak and then that subfloor, that's why you have squeaking in older homes because they use nails. So just make sure they're screwed down, you know. Same thing with the steps. If those step treads are just nailed down, then over time you're gonna hear, so just see if they're screwed down.
Yeah, that's
These
a
are little
common
things that they
common
make
thing
such
we
a
run
big
into.
difference.
Absolutely.
But would you write it in a report
hmm
versus, screws versus nails?
Well, on phase 2, we may be able to, yeah. But on a phase 3, we would just have to report squeaky floors.
But those are things too, you can ask when you go through the build design or go through some of their homes that are in the, you know, hey, before we say yes to this beautiful thing with all the lipstick on it in the model home,
That's
let's
right.
walk through some that are in the framing stage, right, or the foundation stage, and so you can see what standard operating procedure is for that builder. And you can ask those questions on the front end so that you know what the expectation is, because if you get to that stage and then you say, hey, we'd like to have these screwed down, and they go, well, no, we just nail them down.
Yeah.
Well, then it's like, well, no, I want to, you know what I mean? Then you're like going in the night dressed in black. No, I'm just kidding.
That is true.
But yeah, no. But honestly, can I be honest? Most people do not think about the bones of the house. They think, oh, the brick's so pretty and the granite's so gorgeous and the quartz is this and I love the fireplace. And by the time you get to that, all these other things are too late. So
Yeah.
just,
That's right.
True. Very true.
I think we're there for phase 1 and 2. Does anyone have any other questions or comments? And phase 3, new construction inspection. That's the TREC inspection. Complete the TREC 7-6 home inspection report, structural integrity, functionality, and safety. And just like we touched on earlier, we'll use the zip level, thermal scan of the house, wood destroying insect report, and we run the sprinklers.
Is your WDI report included in your fees or is it a separate item?
Which one? I'm sorry.
The wood instructions.
Oh, it's included. hmm And often we'll do a reinspection on a phase 3 when we find things. Typical issues: caulking and weather stripping, grading and drainage, absolutely. Form boards left in place from the phase 1. And as we touched upon, foot traffic and scuffing on the roof, missing sealant, or improper installation in general. Rafters cut too short, faulty arc fault breakers. Those are the ones with the little test buttons. Furnace will not ignite, vapor lock. Yeah, I had a furnace that was leaking gas at a recent phase 3 inspection.
not good.
Not good.
Another one I see is before they do the final grade of the yard, all the brick is still there, the concrete, the soda cans, the whatever is, and they can sometimes just come over and literally just kind of rake over that.
Once
So
over.
Then you have all of that debris under the layer of dirt you can see. So I would say do yourself a favor. Oh, sorry. Hey guys, so also just be sure to be out there before they do the final grade of the dirt, because a lot of times stone, brick, rock, trash is under there, and then they put the sod on top and you're wondering why your plants aren't growing, your grass isn't growing, is because of the debris that was an inch or two under what you couldn't see.
Yeah, I actually planted a flower last year and I dig it and there's cans come out. I'm like, what is
Yeah.
And lastly, on some of the larger issues, I've seen phase 3 homes that were missing the insulation completely, zero insulation. Definitely want to catch that before you move in, and some pretty good plumbing leaks. And I'll show you a good picture here of a recent phase 3. After a routine test of the bathtub upstairs, came downstairs, and there's a little waterfall coming out of a light switch.
Oh, Lord.
And use some thermal imaging to confirm, where that's coming from. Definitely something recommend you don't want to deal with after you've already
Water
moved
and
in.
electric.
Yeah.
So I have a thermal imaging scanner. I don't use it anymore. I want to see if it's still usable.
Sure. I'll look at it for you, Daniel.
It's an older, I mean, it's a good one. $3,000.
I just saw your picture that you had of windows, and it reminded me when you guys are in the framing stages and they've installed your windows, it's just also a good SOP to go and open and close the window to make sure they're in there plumb, flush, and square, because it's easier to catch then before they put the brick, the caulking, the drywall, etc. So just open and close the windows. I know it's simple, but trust me, you'll thank me later.
Absolutely. Yep, usually they're there on the phase 2. We'll test them out as well. And I think that's pretty much, let's see. Thank you guys very much.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the seed credit.
Yeah.
Do you have the CE credit? That's your
Yeah,
contact
that's
information,
just-
right? With like course evaluation. There's another QR code for the CE.
What's the seed?
Oh, that
That's
was,
right, that's the seed credit.
This one
That's the
is
CE credit.
course.
that's the course evaluation.
Is there a separate one for the
Let
CE?
me
'Cause-
double check.
Yes.
that's a-
Yep. I'll find that for you.
So you gotta go to the
The
CE.
very first page, I think, right?
Yeah.
All right, let's try that one. There we go. Whoops. Nope.
You may have to scan that one to get it to work.
And that's the CE
Construction
credit
phase
one.
inspection.
Locking up on you? Cool.
Do we have to give you the evaluation or don't have to?
They prefer.
Sure. Please do.
Give your husband an evaluation.
That's how they get the last time you.
Right. Appreciate it very
Thank
much.
you so much.
Thank you.
Pull this off.
Oh, yes. I would have gone home with it.
Went to the restroom and then hear you in the restroom. I appreciate everyone here. Oh, yes, Teresa, come on in.
Sorry. Okay, I'm gonna hijack this microphone here just so that y'all know. Since Shelly and I, we've been doing training on new agents for a long time because we all are brokerage for 7 years. So we had to train our own agents. So just so that you know, we have done a new agent training here already, and we feel a need of all the team members who has brand new agents come on board. We're not doing the onboarding for EXP, so you do the onboarding. But what all we do is to train brand new agent how to use MLS, how to access MLS, how to do the little things like how to use the map, how to run like a house report, how to send it out and as an email, and how to open your the first door when you go to use your Supra, and like how to sign up. So we will do a new agent MLS training. It's a 4-session course, and we're gonna package it together as a product. For our team members, it's free, but for other team members, it's $4.99. So if you're interested, let us know.
All right. So for those that are online, thank you for hopping on. I believe I saw 8 or 9 people online. Next week, Thursday, December 11th, our EXP North Texas holiday party is going to be at Glen Eagles Country Club. If you don't know where to go to get your ticket, go to expntx.com, and there'll be a link on that site so you can go to that website or the ticket site. All right. That's it. Thank you.